Jake Bentley.
Jake, do you see any similarities in how Jake Fromm at Georgia has kind of stepped into the role and how you did last year?
Yeah, he's done a great job. He's really leading his team to a lot of great wins and just going out there and having fun. That's a big thing I see when I've watched him. He's just out there having fun and doing what he's coached to do. I met him a few times, but not really, no.
Jake, I'm wondering, how did you feel Sunday after that hit from Charles Wright? And is that one of the hardest hits you've ever taken?
Oh, for sure. That's probably number one, hardest hit. Couldn't really move my neck that way too much. Feeling better now. But, no, he definitely he got me pretty good because I was just staring at AJ the whole time. I threw it, I thought it was good, and then just felt like I got hit by a truck. But, no, I'm good, though. I'm good now, so everything's fine. Not really. Not really. I was able to lay there for a second, figure out where I was. I was good. No, I'm just kidding.
Jake, do you guys have a set number of explosive plays you guys want to have during a game? And is your mentality kind of to go out there and set that number, or are you out there to protect the ball and make sure nothing really bad happens on offense?
It kind of depends how the game's going, whether we need to be aggressive or we need to be just conservative. If our defense is playing really well, we're moving the ball, we'll continue to just methodically move the ball. But if we need some shot plays, we're able to do that too. So there's not a set number we want to get to, but we definitely want to be explosive on offense, explosive running the game, in the run game and in the pass game.
Josh.
I don't know if you pay attention to anybody else's stat lines, but Fromm threw 7 passes last week against Florida. As a quarterback, when you see a game like that, do you think, hey, that's great, you only have to throw it 7 times, or do you think I'd be bored out of my mind if I only threw it 7 times in a game?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way that the offense is built. They got great running backs that are able to, move the ball on the ground, and so if you're a quarterback in that system, and that's what you're coached to do, that's what you do. And then if you're winning games and it works, you don't say nothing. You just continue to do your job. I'm sure it's frustrating for him. I'm sure he wants to throw it more, but he understands that they're moving the ball on the ground effectively, that they're going to keep doing what works. So.
Jake, are you and the guys getting excited about playing a big game on national television against a team with national championship aspirations? And also, do you see it as an opportunity to show the country just how far this Gamecock program has progressed the past 2 seasons?
I think it's definitely an opportunity to show the country, how hard we've worked, and what we've been able to overcome from 2 seasons ago. But we're not treating it any different at practice or in the meeting room. We'll continue to practice the right way. We're going to continue to be really locked in what we do in our preparation as far as in the meeting room, and then just go out there and execute on the field.
Jake, how important will it be just to be able to maintain drives, be able to keep the defense out there, the Georgia defense that is, and being able to give your own defense rest, knowing that Georgia has some bruisers back there that can run the football, being able to get your defense up, being able to rest them up a little bit.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a team effort on Saturday to really play complementary football. We got to stay on the field and move the ball for us to have a chance. We can't turn it over. We can't put our defense in bad situations. And they have a big task ahead of them. They're really locked in today at practice. They're really locked in this week as far as their meeting room and their preparation. So it's going to be a fun game, and we definitely have to play team ball.
Is this Georgia defense one of the more versatile you've ever seen in the way that they can kind of mix fronts and they'll keep outside linebackers out in space, but also kind of do a lot of nickel stuff?
Yeah, Coach Smart does a great job of mixing it up. He understands offenses just as much as other offensive coordinators do. And so he knows how to attack offenses. He knows how to confuse quarterbacks. So you really have to be, very, meticulous and really active in film work to really try to get a grasp of what he does. But, the good thing is, both of them, both Coach Muschamp and Coach Smart kind of learned from Coach Saban. So there's a lot of similarities in what they do. As far as our defense, and so that helps a little bit. But they're definitely a different team who is very versatile.
Jake, not that Blake didn't do a great job when he was in there, but what does it mean to have Zach back on the right side of the line?
Yeah, just like a security blanket, really. I mean, it's like I know my right side's protected. I don't have to think about that anymore. Not that I did when Blake was in there, but, having Zach out there, smart guy, played a lot of football, and he's able to execute at a high level. And it's just, really good to have him back out there in the run game as well. Out there pancaking people all over the field. So just a big guy who can create a lot of movement for us.
Do you think you guys were able to kind of, hone in on something, on some side of confidence against Vanderbilt, not only with the way you ran the football, but just the kind of balance you guys were able to show?
Yeah, I think we just really, like you said, honed in of what we're good at, and we continued to run the plays that we're good at, and they worked, and we moved the ball. We didn't try to do too much. We stuck to our game plan the whole game, and it was a great one. That was a great game plan created by Coach Roper and the coaching staff, and we really just continued to follow that, and it worked out for us.
Hey, Jake, right here. Kind of going off that question, what was working so well in the run game on Saturday versus Vanderbilt, and what do you have to do to carry that over this Saturday against Georgia?
Getting outside. We were able to get around some blocks, and AJ and Tyson and Mon did a great job of making explosive plays, making a couple cuts, breaking a few tackles, and just keeping the ball rolling. And then we're able to, on 3rd and short, we were able to get some movement and pick up those first downs, and that's very important. And we've got to do the same this week. We got to be able to run it through in between the tackles and move the ball and stay balanced. So, a good defense like Georgia doesn't just hone in to one thing.
Jake, it's been a long time since South Carolina's been part of a game that's been so impactful in the SEC race. Are you guys ready for that? Do you feel like, hey, what we've been doing this year is getting us ready for this moment?
Our goal is to, win the East. So, and that's what we've been working for since, this summer, since spring practice, fall camp. That's what we break down every team meeting with. And so we know what, our goals are. And we've always had that mindset of making it to Atlanta. So, and then, also the mindset of one-game seasons. And this is a one-game season for us, and we're going to put all our energy and effort into this game and just have fun on Saturday.
Jake, with as good as Georgia is with run defense, do you feel like y'all are going to have to open it up a little bit and maybe throw more than you might typically do?
Just get a feel for the game, really. We're going to have to be able to stay on the field, execute some 3rd downs. And so whether that's, pounding the rock or, airing it out, either way, just wherever the game takes us. We have a game plan in place, but, may have to tweak it a little bit based on how the game's going. But they're a great defense, and we got to find ways to attack them and, get the ball moving.
Jake, I know sometimes even going back to last year, Coach Muschamp might bring up the history against one of the teams that you're playing against. This week, Georgia, guys haven't beat them in Athens since 2011. Is that something Coach has brought up, or is that something maybe some of the guys have talked about?
Not really. No, he hasn't. He hasn't really said too much about that because I really don't think he has to say anything. I mean, the guys know how important this game is to our program, and a lot of guys, want this win, being from Georgia. So it's gonna be a big game for us.
Yeah, going off of that, this could be the biggest game that you've played in so far in your Carolina career. Do you feel that? And I know it's just a one-game season, and you can sit there and say, well, we're just focused on Georgia, but this game does have so many implications. How do you channel all of your energy just into focusing on the field?
Just keeping myself, around the guys and around our team and keeping everyone locked in. And, make sure what we're talking about in the locker room is the game. What we're, talking about in the meeting room is strictly the game. Staying locked in, staying focused on what we have to do. And I think the guys are doing a great job of that so far. Not getting wrapped up into any outside distractions, but really insulating themselves with the team and just focus on what we have to do.
Jake, obviously you didn't play against Georgia last year, but it was kind of right before you got the call and started this sort of journey you've been on the last year. What do you remember from watching that game, and during that, did you have any sense that your chance might be coming?
If I remember correctly, it was on a Sunday, right? Yeah. So it was kind of different for us, kind of a different feel going into that game. So I think a lot of guys kind of off on both teams. But we had our chance. We had our chance at the end, and they returned the onside kick, so it made it look a little worse than it actually was. But we had our chance to execute, and there's times in that game where we didn't, and that's what it comes down to, execution. So that's what we have to do better on Saturday.
Jake, a couple. Just how good is it that AJ's coming off a career game, and then how well has he been running this entire season?
Yeah, he runs so hard, just so physical. Small guy, but really puts all his effort and energy into every single run. And he's been that way ever since I've known him at practice or in the game. So it's just great to see him having a great year.
And how much does your running out of the RPOs kind of really help out the running game and give it a different dimension?
Yeah, it just keeps the defense on their toes. It may, like I said after the game, it may stop a guy's feet for a split second to let AJ and Tyson, break an arm tackle. Instead of him being able to fall back in and get in on the tackle there, maybe ran out with me on my fake or something. So just, trying to create more space for them to run through.
Jake, what stands out to you about this Georgia defense, and I guess what's the focus going in to kind of counteract what they do?
Yeah, just, they have a great front seven. Their defensive ends and their linebackers and their defensive tackles do a great job of, in the run game and getting pass rush. They're a great defense. You can look at the numbers and they'll back them up for them. But, we just got to be efficient. We got to be able to move the ball. We got to be able to stay on the field, not put our defense in bad situations, and then, just continue to move the ball and execute at a high level.